What's up, guys? Kevin Allen here, aka the Geek from DFS Army, and we're talking best ball and redraft rankings and breakdowns. And today I'm going to show you a live draft, or live stream, whatever, draft of me drafting from the 12th position. And as we go, guys, I'm going to talk about my favorite picks, my least favorite picks from every round. So this video will both help you strategize for your best ball and season-long redraft leagues, at least from my point of view. I'll talk about the players who I like in each round. And then I'm also going to talk a little bit about specifically best ball strategy here and how to attack what they call a sit and go best ball, which is where you're in a league against 12 others and you're just trying to win that league. That's my specialty. That's my favorite contest type to attack on DraftKings, and it's my best ROI of anything that I ever do. And there is an approach to this in terms of making sure that you have all your positions covered, making sure that you have protection against injury, that you're not building necessarily for trying to beat everybody or taking crazy risks, but rather in the 12-person league approach to best ball, you're really just trying to build a team that can outlast your opponents. Most of the teams in your league will wind up having zeros. They'll mess up on a position group or something like that. So we're going to avoid that here and just break it down. And this will be a draft from the 12th spot, as you could see, as I've been given a spot number 12. So we're going to have to double tap, which is, between you guys and me, one of the most difficult things to do during a live stream. So this should be fun and interesting. And we're going to talk through this first round as we get along. And as we get to our pick, I'll talk about my strategies. But picking from 12, a lot of the premier names are going to be gone. So we can actually take some liberties. I'd love for Bijan Robinson to be there, of course, but I don't think so. And looking at sort of the 12-13 turn, yeah, it's Nick Chubb, it's Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I like both of those guys. So let's go through this draft as it is being done here. And a lot of standard stuff. Christian McCaffrey, I think going early is one of the worst picks you can make. So let's avoid that, guys. Don't be the person to take Christian McCaffrey. I already talked about it in my rankings, but Christian McCaffrey is a very sketchy pick as high as he is. I love Christian McCaffrey, but he's a very sketchy pick. Let's see if we could show drafted just to kind of see as they go. But you see things going pretty much in order here so far with, I guess, Cooper Kupp went ahead. Oh, there's Chubb. All right, so this is already getting a little weird in terms of the way that players are being picked. Nick Chubb goes in the heart of round 1. That's surprising. Still Kelsey left on the board, which is crazy. AJ Brown getting... What's going on here? DraftKings. DraftKings is weird. AJ Brown gets grabbed well ahead of ADP. Here we go. Travis Kelce going pick 9, which is a steal for that person. Love Kelsey in the first round. You're fine to take him anywhere after pick 5. I'm hoping Bijan will get to me. That will really set us up to smash this particular league. That would be crazy. I've got Bijan as my highest ranked running back as of right now. There's not too many there in best ball. There's not a great reason to take running back early unless you can get Bijan, like I might get right here. Let's see what happens. If not, we might double tap Lamb and Amon-Ra. So I might even go Amon-Ra Wilson here. But again, if Bijan falls to us, we go Bijan, Amon-Ra as our start and laugh all the way to the bank. So let's see if this works out. It looks like this guy is going to auto pick, which will probably... Oh, no, we got him. Bijan, let's go. All right. And see, I'm making the choice of Amon-Ra St. Brown here. CeeDee Lamb is fine. Wilson is fine. I'm probably avoiding Devontae Adams for the most part this season. So I love Lamb. I love Amon-Ra. I love Garrett Wilson. I think some of the worst picks in this round were those early grabs for A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown does not belong multiple rounds ahead of Devontae Smith. So let's pay attention to the draft as it continues here. There goes Devontae Adams. And again, Devontae Adams, to me, one of the avoids. Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't push the ball downfield. We haven't seen it. I don't like it, so I'm avoiding it. Right? I'm just trying to show drafted in the order that they're coming in. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to show this on screen, but we'll just keep talking about who drafts what. So Devontae Adams just taken. I assume Wilson will go next. There we go. And here's an interesting twist. ADPs on the DraftKings format are really crazy. Like at this point, you're already seeing there goes Pollard, Waddle. You're seeing the quarterbacks floating to the top. Now I'm going to tell you something straight up. In this format, and especially now, you're looking at the millionaire, but if you're drafting a league type format, I don't agree with going for the luxury quarterback quite this early. These guys will get you good points, but your quarterback position will be covered regardless in the season-long leagues. And right now, this is the part of the draft where you want to load up on talent and depth. Later on, we can get 2 or even 3 quarterbacks late in the draft to just do enough scoring to get us by at that position. There's lots of quarterbacks available when the player pool kind of dries up a little bit. So I want to stud up here as much as possible. Doesn't matter because at the turn that we got, we don't have to make this choice. But generally, the stud quarterbacks go towards the end of round 2. So we're at the end of round 2 here. Looks like Mahomes just went. And continuing on, I'm just keeping an eye on the board. We look at our team. We've drafted an elite running back and an elite wide receiver to start. And that's a great start to any draft. So I start to look here at the player groups and get a sense of who's available where. You're going to see there's a dead zone at running back. I talk about this in a lot of our videos. Round 4 gets a little bit weird with running backs where it's the Travis Etienne, Najee Harris, guys that are on my avoid list this year. So you're going to see we're going to get to that pretty soon. There goes Derrick Henry, pick 26. Devontae Smith off the board at 20. Oh, he went 26. So right at the beginning of round 3, you got Devontae Smith, who I love. Great pick there. Wide receiver group. So take a look at the studs. Again, T. Higgins still a solid play. DK Metcalf an avoid for me. Deebo Samuel an avoid for me. And you could kind of see the drop-off at wide receiver when you get past pretty much Devontae Smith or Olave, whichever one goes there. There's a major drop-off. And then we go over to the running back position. You see some of these names that are kind of stink cheese running backs. Taylor, weird spot. Josh Jacobs, good, but certainly saw a lot of volume last year. Ramondre now splitting touches with Zeke Elliott, some sketch there. Travis Etienne, just not that good last year. Hasn't proven that he's any good at all. I really like Joe Mixon, so he's one of those guys when he starts to come up, that's where I'm trying to get to with my pick. But more important than that, you really want to get your wide receiver position sorted in this type of league. So let's take a look at most of the quarterbacks that are elite studs are kind of gone at this point, and we've gotten down past the big 3. Let me show drafted. So we got past the big 3, and we're at Lamar / Fields Burrow territory. We'll see. I'd like to try to push it an extra round and see about maybe Trevor Lawrence. So let's see who's available when our pick comes up. Noticing, again, there goes Lamar. So the QB position whittling down. I do have a lot of Fields, and I don't mind. Well, he's gone. There it is. So I was going to say, I wouldn't mind Fields here, but if Fields is gone and we're down to this group, now I'm going to wait another set of rounds to see if I can get Trevor Lawrence. You see his ADP is 60, so I have a ways to wait until Lawrence goes off the board, and he's sort of my next target in these. And if I don't get Lawrence, fine. Tua, it's fine. I'm not worried about quarterbacks. Here we go, Keenan Allen. So wide receiver still going. And I'm back on the draft with a double tap. And let's just take a look at the all formats here. And I see the 2 players that I'm going to target. So I've got a choice between Ramondre and Joe Mixon. And I'm actually going to go Joe Mixon over Ramondre. Mixon doesn't have any competition for touches. He should get a ton of action. Now, next, I want to go back to wide receiver. So we're kind of even distributing who we're getting here. And while I love DJ Moore, DeAndre Hopkins, some of those guys, I'm going to go with Amari Cooper here as my pick. So we've started out our draft with 2 running backs, real elite starting running backs, Joe Mixon and Bijan Robinson. We've got 2 WR1s in Amari Cooper and who's my other guy? Amon-Ra St. Brown, right? We got studs everywhere. So we don't have a quarterback yet. So we're going to watch the quarterback position. We're going to also watch how players are getting drafted here, but we're going to watch the quarterback position. My fundamental is I like to have at least 2 quarterbacks, sometimes 3. at least 2 tight ends, sometimes 3, 4 to 5 running backs, and the rest wide receivers. Now, the wide receiver group, wide receiver is really important because, especially later in the draft, you're not really finding a lot of running backs or quarterbacks or anything that actually play. But even as we go rounds and rounds and rounds deep in the draft, we can get guys like Isaiah Hodgins and Van Jefferson, who are starters on their team, but just are available late. They don't produce consistently, but they produce. So there goes Mike Williams. Another one, I'm kind of avoiding Mike Williams this year. He went, I guess, pick 36. So right at the end of round 3, we're into round 4 now. But I don't like that pick. There goes Joe Burrow as well. I think Joe Burrow, not a special enough quarterback to want to reach for, particularly early in drafts. I don't think he gets you a whole lot more than what a Dak could get you, or a Daniel Jones multiple rounds later. So I would avoid that. And again, in a season-long sit-and-go format in particular, QB is not going to be what wins it for you or loses it for you. It's having studs and having players filling out your lineups, having healthy tight ends, not getting zeros. You will have injuries. Injuries are unaccountable. So you have to have the right mix of players and enough depth at each position to cover your injuries. If you're doing that, if you're scoring at every position, you will be in contention, because most of your opponents are going to draft stupid. They're going to not draft enough of a position, or they're going to focus too hard on running back early. They're going to do something stupid, and that will cost them. So our job when drafting, especially in a sit and go, is not to make mistakes. Now, I'm trying to go through each. DeAndre Hopkins, we're in round 5 here at this point. And DeAndre Hopkins goes to the top of round 5. Good pick, good play. Taking a look at the wide receiver group in general, and we're not going to pick for a while, but we got to be at the end of this round. But Drake London is somebody I kind of like. Brandon Ayuk is a reason why you don't need to take Deebo Samuel early. I think Brandon Ayuk will outscore Deebo Samuel this season. Godwin, a bit of an avoid for me this year. So we're in a bit of a black hole after probably Drake London here at wide receiver. So now we start to look at the running backs that are available. And this gets into what I call the golden zone for running backs. One of the things for me on these best ball leagues is I want to have 4 starting quality running backs. And this year, you could totally do that, because take a look at the running back position in general. We're in this dead zone here. And then we start to get to, there goes Trevor Lawrence. Oops. Wow. Lawrence ahead of Herbert is really interesting. So I'm still going to wait. And I think I'll get Daniel Jones. I might wait too long on quarterback and have to double tap 2 shitty guys. We'll see. But I kind of want to wait and see if I can get Daniel Jones or I don't mind Tua, Deshaun Watson. I'm going to keep waiting on quarterback here. And we're going to double tap running back, I think. So take a look at the remaining running backs. James Cook, too high. DeAndre Swift, incorrect. Connor, incorrect. I would have Rachaad White above all of these guys, all of them, right? And he's all the way down here. So how long? Kamara's available. Again, ADP 78. So we're talking round 6. So none of these guys will all probably disappear before our next set of picks. We're at pick 60, and our next set of picks are 24, so 74. We might be able to risk it for 1 second one here. So let's see about all that. Take a look at the wide receivers available here. I could still get Drake London, Dallas Goedert. So the tight end position is starting to thin out a bit as well. Damn. Okay. And these are 70s and 80s, ADPs, 60s. Don't like these guys too much. I wanted Drake London, but he just went off the board. So I'm going to I think I'm going to grab some Cam Akers here. One of my favorite sort of, sleeper picks, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to grab Tua at QB. Now, I don't have a stack with Tua. Tua is really tough to stack. You have to get Tyreek Hill early. Actually, I'll go Deshaun Watson because I have the stack there with Amari Cooper already. And what I'm going to try to do actually on the next run, since I just picked Deshaun Watson, I like to have a little bit of correlation in the lineup, is on the next round, I might take a look at David Njoku. We already have Amari Cooper. We grab Njoku and maybe another running back like Rachaad White. So right now I'm hoping that either Rachaad White or J.K. Dobbins at running back. These are my favorite guys. I'm avoiding Swift. I'm avoiding Cook for the most part. Definitely avoiding. I don't get that. This ranking is crazy. Connor for the most part, and I like White, Dobbins, and even Javonte Williams. I don't mind it. He's playing. Javonte Williams is already playing. This guy's a stud. Like, oh my gosh. And Kamara. So there's still a lot of good running backs left. On our team, we don't have a there goes George Pickens, a little early grab, but there's still some decent wide receivers left. I think I like a lot of these names. We need a tight end. We've got our quarterback. So let's see. Can we show our roster? Why is it not showing? Oh, yeah. Here we go. Here's our roster so far. So we got Deshaun Watson. We've got him tied in with Amari Cooper, Bijan Robinson, Joe Mixon. Love Joe Mixon. Amon-Ra. And we've got 3 solid starting running backs. So I need a 4th starting running back on this build. I like to have 4. Remember, only 3 could. You're like, hey, why do you need 4? 3 are scoring for you. These guys are going to get hurt. These guys are probably going to get hurt significantly. There's bye weeks. So, but primarily it's because these guys get hurt. So you need to have enough running back action, or you have to do a good job of handcuffing your running backs. And taking a look at mine, Bijan, I guess later on I could look at Tyler Algier and maybe Cam Akers. There's a Chris Evans. There's a running back over there that may be a handcuff. I don't know. It's not that easy to handcuff Akers. So I'm going to just try to grab another running back. That's good. So we'll see how that goes. There goes DeAndre Swift. Terrible pick. One of the J.K. Dobbins goes a little bit early. But yeah, I mean, I guess Swift in a tournament format's fine. He has that upside, but man, I don't know. I don't even know if he's the starter or, on his own team. So there's still starting running backs available here, like Kamara and White and Pierce. I don't get the Swift pick, although I do like the team that he's on. I don't really get the pick. Note that the wide receiver black hole is now, right? This is a time when you want to not be taking wide receiver. You want to take something else. That's why a lot of people are going for these running back. Dalvin Cook, horrible pick. Gabriel Davis, I don't mind him. But yeah, you could see that nothing feels very good here. I've liked what I've seen from Addison in training camp. That's not a bad spot. I really like one guy who I'm aggressively, I'm going to say targeting is, wait, did he get taken? No. Zay Flowers? Where is Flowers? Oh, they took him? Wow, somebody's sharp here. Let me see that. I was gonna give you my sneaky love for Flowers. Yeah, he's still available. Okay. Yeah, he wasn't drafted. Was he? Pittman. Oh yeah. Pittman's also a terrible pick, by the way. Donkey who took him. But there goes Zay Flowers. So props to that dude for jumping ADP massively to grab Flowers. I was hoping he would be there for our next pick. Obviously, he will not. So continuing to just eyeball the board here. We've got David Njoku still hanging around for us. Wide receiver group, a little more sketch, but I think we're going to go running back and tight end here and wait at wide receiver for the next one. So I've got White. I've got Miles Sanders. Both guys I really, really love, especially White. I'm so happy that he's falling to me right now. That's great. Rachaad White's a starting running back on his team. What is the problem? Why? What's our problem with Rachaad White? I don't know why he goes so low. And next, I'm going to grab David Njoku to complete our stack. We've got Watson, Njoku. Let's hope Watson has a big year. Great. Could have gotten Chubb in there and just had the Browns. With that being said, I've got a pretty cool tool that shows you which teams to target late in the season too, which I don't have enough time, but one really cool tool where you see fantasy points expected for teams in those late season games to understand, hey, I want to actually win this contest. I want to win this tournament. So if you understand when your league playoffs are, it's important to actually understand the matchups in those late games. One of the reasons I don't like Christian McCaffrey that much is because I think that, the 49ers are competitive and they're probably going to be in the playoffs and they're going to be load managing Christian McCaffrey late in the season, exactly when you need him. He's injury prone, pick 2 in the draft. It's too sketchy. And load management. It's a combination that's just no good. So we've got, taking a look at our team here, we've got a full team drafted, including a bench player outside of wide receiver 3. Now we can make up for wide receiver 3. The wide receiver 3 spot, we can make up for it because we're just going to take a lot of wide receivers late, and we'll just have guys shooting in and out. We have our 2 studs there. There are still good wide receivers left. There's still some good running backs left. So, if a couple of these guys still hang around, if Miles Sanders is still there, I'm taking him. If at QB, if Daniel Jones is still there, I'm taking him on my next pick. So those are my targets for the next pick. And taking a look at the wide receiver position, it's not that great right now, but it's good. It's fine. You have let's see, Brandon Cooks is fine. Michael Thomas has been healthy. That's crazy. Sky Moore is a fine pick. Lazard, a lot of guys I like. Dubs, I don't mind. I really like Myers. I think he's going to be a PPR beast. So there's quite a few. There goes Sky Moore. All right. Again, jumping some ADP. I like what I'm seeing from a couple of these guys. Maybe it's this one dude. I don't know. I don't have enough time to look at the teams, but I'm curious who jumped Zay Flowers, because that person gets it. Maybe he's watching my content. Gets it. Probably not, though. But here we go. So still have Jones and Tua left. We're up. We got quite a ways to go till our next pick. So we're just going to kind of sit back and watch here. We got quite a ways to go until our next pick. And a lot of these guys are going to be gone. I hope Daniel Jones hangs around, though. People kind of are down on him, but they're stupid and we aren't, right? Daniel Jones should have a great fantasy year. Jerick McKinnon is another guy. I like to target him a little bit later in the draft. P. Ryan would be a decent backup to actually, yeah, he's gone. Williams is gone already. So no good. There are some running backs with some life here in the back half of the running back position group. And again, we're kind of in a dead zone at wide receiver right now. They're fine, but it's a little bit of a dead zone. So I'm still watching the QB position. RB, Sanders is gone, and I don't really like who's available here. I don't like this group all that much. I like McKinnon. I think McKinnon actually is going to be a really great best ball type guy, but not necessarily someone who you can rely on every week. Lazard, so some decent wide receivers. I like Michael Thomas. I don't mind it. I'm willing to take the risk. I like Lazard on the Jets. Romeo Doubs on the Packers is a good spot. Zay Jones looking better. Myers. So there goes Rashad Bateman. And then a tight end, we still have a pretty strong group, but I don't need. So in this format, I don't need to use 2 early picks on tight ends. I'd rather actually have a second quality quarterback based on Deshaun Watson having not been his usual self last year. So I can't be sure that he's really a more than 18 points per game guy. I'm going to need 3 quarterbacks since I didn't get one of the early studs, which is fine. By the way, if you get one of the early studs, you only need 2. So like when I take Kelsey, I really only take one other tight end. When I take like Jalen Hurts in one of these leagues, I don't take 3 quarterbacks. There's no point. You're never going to use them. So I don't. Oh, man. They got Danny Jones 1 pick before me. And Tua. All right. We just got burned a little bit here. Now we got to kind of scramble. I'm going to take Geno. That's fine. Running backs, nothing good here. Tight end, still good, but don't have enough. So we're going to go with, I think, a guy who will just deliver yeoman-like decent fantasy production, and that's Lazard on the Jets. Now we have a full team, 2 quarterbacks. We've got 4 running backs, 4 starters. We've got 1 tight end and 3 wide receivers. So now we know our marching orders pretty much for the rest of this draft, which is maybe get 1 more running back in there, a 5th guy. I'm going to get 1 more tight end in there later. We have 1 or 2. Yeah, I might have 2 more tight ends before this draft is through, actually. 1 more good one and then another sort of sleeper or late pick. And then just load up on wide receivers. A lot of these guys, they'll pop off here, they'll pop off there. You never know when it's going to happen. So that'll be the approach for the rest of this draft. You want to have tons of wide receivers. They do the scoring for you. They jump in the flex. They replace the other wide receivers when they're not doing well. And 1 more running back in there. So we have 5 working for us. We only need 2 on a given week. Tight end, I'll get a second and maybe a third one really late. I'd like to have a second decent one. I do like Njoku, but tight ends, again, one of those positions where they're not super consistent. And based on our quarterback position, Watson and Geno, I can probably get a third, but it's going to be a late guy, like maybe like a Sam Howell, who actually has some really interesting rushing upside. So I'll try to get that third late quarterback if I can. I will try to, I will certainly need another tight end, probably one more running back, ideally a running back that will actually contribute to the team. I mean, Tyler Algier is a nice, just makes sense guy to back up Bijan as well. So we'll see when we do that. And we just need a volume of wide receivers here to fill it out. And like a Jacoby Myers could be really interesting there. I'm not taking injured guys. Treylon Burks just got sprained LCL. I don't love the Burks situation at all, to be honest. So I'm probably avoiding that one. But it's not horrible. I just probably avoiding it. And you can see here, it really drops off. But you still have wide receivers of value as you go down the ADP list, like Hodgins, who was great last year, and Van Jefferson. I get Peoples-Jones just to keep that stack going as well. It really does start to drop in quality as you go on. Mechie, okay. Paris Campbell's one of my sleepers that I like really late. Yeah, there continue to be little sleepers floating around, but they get fewer and further in between as you roll your way down the ADP list here. So, of course, at running back, Tank Bigsby looking good in camp. Jaylen Warren looking good in camp. They've moved up in ADP quite a bit, which is surprising, but I get it. If you have ETN, you need Bigsby on your team. There's also the backup for Derrick Henry, whose name escapes me right now, but he's been looking, Tajay Spears, and he's been looking pretty good in camp as well. Let's see where our pick is coming up soon. Let's see what we got on the board. So Dalton Schultz, we had a little bit of a run. There's Tank Bigsby going. So it's really interesting how things are shaken out in this draft. People are really jumping around those ADPs quite a bit, which is unusual. Oh, there goes Algier. What? Who takes your handcuff? Why? I wasn't even going to take him for a whole nother set of rounds. So that's absolutely ridiculous. I think these guys are chasing a little bit, which is good for us. So we're going to get some pretty decent wide receivers still. Oh, there goes Dubs. Man, it's like they're watching. Tyler Boyd goes. All right, we're going to get Myers with one of our picks, hopefully. And let me think about a tight end as well. So we're starting to run out at the tight end position a little bit. There are good guys still floating around, but not very good. So we're going to have to grab some of this tight end action. And I think it's going to be, for me, Myers, and we'll pick a tight end for that second pick. Myers should be a PPR machine. He's exactly the kind of player I need on this type of team. Again, it's a sit and go. So we're going up just again. Now, in reality, I'm drafting for a sit and go, but we are in a tournament just because I couldn't fill the sit and go fast enough. But nonetheless, so we just took Jacoby Myers, wide receiver, and I'm going to add in Greg Dulcich. He, I like Chigokonkwo too. I like Johnson here a little bit. And there's some sleepers at tight end that are definitely in play for me. Like Hayden Hurst has been apparently the #1 target in that Carolina offense. So I'm interested in him. Tyler Conklin on the Jets is fine. And then we get the quick drop off at tight end. So what I'm going to try to do is actually get another tight end and get a third one. So if I take an early stud tight end, I might not do this, but with Njoku and Dulcich, I wouldn't mind a third guy that's decent. Again, looking at our roster, we've got Deshaun Watson in there. We've got our 2 quarterbacks. We've got 4 running backs. Now I've got a bench wide receiver. So that's my 4th wide receiver and a second tight end. So it's all about the numbers. It really is. It's about building a balanced team that is protected from, devastating injury at a position group, or even expectable injuries at a position group. And that's really the difference. Got to turn off show drafted. Turn that off. Yeah. So let's see who we've got left here. All right. Quarterback position. Again, starting to dry up. Jordan Love. There goes Matt Stafford. Reach. We're in round 12. Jordan Love, Purdy still on the board. Purdy's a sketchy one because you don't know. Bryce Young, not very good. So the QB position is almost toast. We still have starters floating around, but they are bad. Running back, we're in the backup zone. Although Harris, I don't mind. Elijah Mitchell's going to get touches. Kenny Gainwell looks pretty good. So all of these guys are still going to be productive. So we still have a bunch of productive guys left at running back. At wide receiver, injured guys or guys who are suspended, don't want anything to do with any of that. There goes Michael Gallup, Rashee Rice, the rookie. Darnell Mooney, I don't mind. Hodgins will be a target for me. He looked great with the Giants last year. Why not? Why not? People forget. People just forget. This guy was good last year. Why not be good again this year? John Mechie and Paris Campbell, again, some guys I mentioned for later in the draft. So we'll see. We'll get some sleepers going. We're in round 13. So our next pick is going to be at the end of round 14. And let's see what's going. Adam Thielen off the board here. So we're just so at this point in the draft, right? We filled out our team, but you can't just turn it on auto draft here. A lot of people do. They just kind of turn their brain off and go, I don't know. That is not the thing to do. Here we want to really be focused in. Understand, all right, here's how many QBs are left. Will there be another third one for me on the next round? Let's take a look at the tight end position. All right. Is there anybody good left here? Will there be anybody good left on the next round? And then running back, of course, we're doing the same thing, just making sure to try to get to time these picks pretty well. This one guy always takes people who I have on my mind here, but nothing really great going on at running back. I don't mind Harris, though. I really, really don't. I think Harris might be a sneakily good running back this year. I don't think James Cook is that guy. So, but let's take a look at, there's Hodgins, who I need even more. I need to fill out my wide receiver room really well. Marvin Mims Jr., I don't mind there, but I want to get another tight end in the mix here. And that's, I'm going to go with Juwan Johnson there on the Saints as my TE3. So now we got 3 tight ends. We're not going to worry about that position anymore. That's done. I've got 1, 2. So I've got my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 3 starters, 5 wide receivers, 4 running backs. So it's all about the numbers here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 picks left. In the next 6 picks, what I want to do now is maybe get a third quarterback. Not necessary, but if there is one, could help just a little bit. Later on, especially when, the other positions are looking weak. We want to maybe grab one more running back. If another decent looking running back is floating around on this next pick, then definitely. And then we just want to fill out the rest with as many wide receivers that play for their team at all as we can, right? That's the key, because those wide receivers will pop off. It was Zay Jones that was winning me these leagues last season. And everyone's like, Zay Jones, like that guy? Yeah, he went late, and he was just a random pick late that popped off. And I just had a ton of them. Donovan Peoples-Jones is that kind of player for me as well. I usually take him really late in drafts, and he just, has these productive weeks and is your starter. And you're like, wow, I can't believe it. These inconsistent wide receivers are exactly who you want in this type of format. Now, in your season-long league, we're done. At this point, these players, you've pretty much filled out your entire team. At this point, there's just a couple picks left, and we can on your redraft format where you're starting players. These picks are less important. And as a matter of fact, if this was a redraft league, like in your home league against your friends, and I'm in rounds 12 and 13, now I'm drafting just for upside. I'm not taking anyone that's just a yeoman-like scorer, I'm looking for massive upside. So at this point, I'd rather take running backs that are handcuffs. Like Zamir White is a solid handcuff for Josh Jacobs. I actually think Zamir White's a really good best ball pick as well, but he's just a good guy to have on your bench in whatever league you're in. Tajay Spears, a really, really great handcuff for Derrick Henry. Henry gets hurt, Spears is going to go nuts. Like these are the kind of players you want to be taking right now in your redraft. I don't want mediocre wide receivers that, while on a best ball team, they'll really help our best ball team just fill in the gaps on these weeks. In a season-long redraft format, I'm much, much more interested in running backs who can become starters. Roschon Johnson, if the guy ahead of them gets hurt. right? Or rookie wide receivers that might just pop, like the Jalen Hyatts of the world on the Giants. Like, what if he's awesome? Or Mingo on Carolina, who has nobody. Like, what if he's good and he gets the starting point? So that's what I'm looking at in my redraft for these late rounds to put on my bench. A lot of these guys are going to draft anyway. You certainly should never have 3 quarterbacks on your redraft team. You know what's shocking is that somebody took Howell. Howell usually lasts really long. It's like they're listening. Somebody took Howell, which is crazy. All right, not somebody we need, but I'm just surprised because I thought we would get him on the next run. Sam Howell is weirdly a running quarterback. Like in the one game that he played last season, he ran 7 or 8 times, got 35, 40 yards. So he actually did just fine as a running back, which was interesting. We are still waiting on our next pick. So I'm just kind of paying attention to the board. There goes Roschon Johnson. And again, Roschon is one of these players. At this point, Tajay Spears, a lot of the names I was just talking about, a lot of upside in these guys if the starter gets hurt. But they won't be scoring for you unless the starter gets hurt. So in best ball, there goes Zamir, another guy. We just talked about this whole crew. So all big upside when the starter gets hurt. So the field at this point is starting to draft guys who aren't starters anymore, who are not likely to start for their team, but rather backups. I'll take Donta Foreman if he's available. Khalil Herbert, I guess he's gone, long gone. That's a weird team. Chicago at running back. Mingo, I like if he's available in the next pick as well. Let's take a look. Richie James, I don't like that pick very much. John Mechie. So we're starting to get to the danger zone here. And we have 3 tight ends, so I don't need another one. I'm going to go, I'll go with Mingo here. Just a little rookie with some upside. Let me take a look. No, actually, Donta Foreman, we'll take that first. And then I feel like Mingo's a good spot. Carolina doesn't really have anybody at wide receiver, so why not? Why not play for him to potentially emerge with his rookie quarterback? That offense did not look very good to me, though. Keeping it real, that didn't look very good. So we got our 5th running back in Donta Foreman. We've added another wide receiver. So let me count our player numbers here, but I've got 3 wide receivers, and then I add in another 1, 2, 3. So we've got 6 wide receivers, 5 running backs, 3 tight ends, 2 quarterbacks. And again, all we want to do is make sure that when the injury that will happen, inevitably happens in this format, in the best ball format, that we have a backup in place. Or if we have a weaker position group, like our QB position is a little sketch, I want an extra one in there just in case. It's not as important. Like the difference between an 18 from Deshaun Watson or a 23 from, someone else, it's not that big in the grand scheme of things. It's much more important not to get a 0 or to have wide receivers that aren't putting up 2s and 3s. So, it's always a balance here, but you don't want a situation where you get a couple injuries and then you're dead at that position. Running back can go that way. Sometimes you just get some injuries at running back. You're like, oops, I only have 2 guys now and they're not that good. So that's why I did emphasize making sure we have 4 starters at running back. We got a 5th guy who's decent. And I would have liked to have gotten some of those high upside backups that I mentioned before, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do? They went. So taking a look at the draft board here, Jalen Hyatt goes. Again, we're in this speculative zone. There's really only one good QB left. Although Trey Lance, man, there's some upside there if you want to take the shot. I kind of don't mind Trey Lance really, really late. I like Paris Campbell. He's one of the guys that I've been targeting this year. I just like Giants wide receivers a little bit because I don't know which of them is going to emerge. So I'm taking shots. John Mechie is a guy that I take a little bit as well. Tank Dell, I don't like that. There goes CJ Stroud. I was kind of hoping he would fall to us. So we are kind of stuck with these guys are almost not worth taking. So I'm not going to waste even picks on I don't know. There's really no one left worth taking that's left on the board here. Des Ridder, okay, but they're just going to run that football. Mac Jones really just never has a good game. Not my favorite. Kendry Miller goes, another upside running back that probably won't be scoring for you at all. Could take Chase Brown as a backup to Joe Mixon. Yeah, where's Evans? Yeah, I don't think I'm doing that. I don't want to go with those kind of backups that I don't know if they're even going to start. Oh, Paris Campbell. Oh, man. One of my favorite guys, one of my sneaky guys off the board. So here we go. We're coming to the end of this draft, guys. Last few picks here, round 18, and then we'll have one more round, but kind of talk through a little bit of what we ended up with. And it's interesting also to see which position groups have like live players left at the very, very end of your draft. So we'll take a little bit of a look at that as well here. But you do see there are still a couple of, starting QBs here. Running back position, very dead. Very dead. Okay, wide receiver, we could take Mechie here. Should be playing at least. Let's take a look down the list here. If any of my sleepers, yeah, there's really no sleepers floating around. I'm going to take a third quarterback here. I'm going to go with Des Ridder. He has some rushing upside. He was a running quarterback at one point. Maybe he'll show some of that this year. So I have a sneaky feeling about Des Ridder. Maybe he can help us for a game or two. I believe I have one more set of picks left in me. So we'll kind of talk through a little bit about the team. Let's get a quick look at where we're at. These last picks, there's not anybody too good left. So we just want anybody with any sort of life potentially. But Deshaun Watson, Bijan Robinson, Joe Mixon, solid starting running backs. Amon-Ra and Amari Cooper. Now, I'm higher on Amari Cooper than most people. I love him every year, and I'm not changing that approach. I still like him. Lazard, so not a super exciting WR3, but we do have 1-2 more starting running backs here in Akers and White that I love both of. David Njoku, solid yeoman-like TE with 20-point upside any given week. And we supplement him with Dulcich and Juwan Johnson. Wouldn't mind having another tight end in there on this last round if I can't really find anything I like at wide receiver or running back. I don't think we can, any running backs here are any kind of good. Chase Brown, I could do that. These are really sketchy running backs at this point. So I'm going to avoid that position group. QB group, really ugly. At tight end, also, I don't mind Ertz. Cade Otton's a starter, but really this is a pretty ugly group as well. So I think the best bet for us is to double tap wide receiver when it comes around and see just if there's anybody at least acceptable. I mean, Robinson on Pittsburgh now. Could he have a comeback? Corey Davis is really bad. This last round is really gross. Greg Dortch had it was a couple good games last year, so maybe this is a fake version of a. Wait, who is this? Isaiah McKenzie? Oh, he's on the there you go. I liked Terrace Marshall, but him getting hurt in practice kind of ruined it for me. But he was one of my sleepers earlier in the season, and it gets really, really bad from here. So I guess kudos to DraftKings for making these drafts the length that they are. I'm actually really curious as to what players are available, on the last, rounds 19, 20. The 19 and 20 are pretty much, if you could get any production out of those last couple picks, you're probably winning your league. Let me know who some of your favorite sleepers are. Who are you taking after round 12? Like, who are you focused on this year? So hit us up in the comments and let me know what kind of players you're focused on. If you like this content, I can do a few more of these. Smash the like button. Let me know in the comment section if you like this style of content. So I figured doing a live draft and talking through might be a cool way to sort of give my philosophy on drafting for 2023. As you see, you have to, things are moving really quick on screen. So it's a tricky format to talk through and really understand. But, we've done a lot of the long form videos and just breaking down the rankings, and this is how it comes all together. So you see in my rankings, of course, that I'm really high on some of those names. I'm really high on Rashad White and Cam Akers, these guys who you can get late. Miles Sanders, we talked about, J.K. Dobbins. I like that running back group that you get later in the draft. It allows us to sort of punt, and Joe Mixon is one of my favorites, and allows us to sort of not take early wide running backs. Now, in the case of this draft, I took Bijan because I could not pass up that incredible value that dropped to me at pick 12. But if that didn't happen, I'd double tap wide receiver and just laugh all our way to the bank, because at that point, we'd have 3 stud wide receivers in the lineup instead of just 2 and the backups. But I think either way kind of works. Either way kind of works. Yeah, I'm just taking a look to see if there are any wide receivers here that even just have any life in their legs. It's really no. Most of them are gone. I'm sure Claypool will be gone. Marvin Jones Jr. is terrible. Is this the rookie, Michael Wilson? I guess he's, I don't want anything to do with that Cardinals offense, but and he goes. So it's like they're listening. Tight end, anybody with life? Not really. RB, anybody with life? I mean, I guess if you think that Chris Evans is the backup to Joe Mixon, that could be interesting. Yeah, I guess I'll grab Evans if he's available. I don't love it, but it could be a handcuff, and that's a lot better than anything else I've got going on here this late. Probably grab Chase Claypool. Josh Downs is an interesting rookie on the Colts. Yeah. Oh, did he just go? No, Marvin Jones Jr. went. So he's an interesting rookie on the Colts. Wouldn't mind it, but I'm not in love with that Colts offense with Richardson at the helm. I don't think they're going to do a ton. But yeah, this is definitely a spot for backups. Kelly would be interesting for the guy who took Eckler. Interesting standalone, but we're probably not going to get a whole lot of value out of this late pick. Could get crazy with a Trey Lance pick, but I don't know about all that. So let's take Evans as a backup for our boy Mixon, and then I will close this out with a Hopium play on Chase Claypool. And guys, that's going to do it for this draft. Hopefully you enjoyed watching along. Let me know what you thought of my draft. Did you think I did a good job here? Do you like the way I built the team? End of the day, we got Deshaun Watson, Brian Robinson, Joe Mixon, Amon-Ra, Cooper, Lazard, David Njoku, Cam Akers. So we've got a solid group of running backs with some backups late, including a handcuff for Mixon. We've got, did I go 4? No, we went 3 quarterbacks, including Des Ridder. And, we went 3 tight ends, Dulcich, Juwan Johnson, and of course, David Njoku. This is a solid team. I really feel like this team will win, 12-man leagues. Like, this is a winning team, first place in a 12-man league. So hopefully you enjoyed that. And we'll be back with more. This one was starting from the 12th spot. So I'll try to do one starting earlier, like a 3 or 4 spot as well. Get a little different feel for it. Remember, like, subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this video, and we'll keep it coming for you. Take care.